Hello everyone, I am Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IS English channel. In our today's video, we'll try to find out, is Enforcement Directorate, which is a Government of India body, is it crossing all its limits in the state of Tamil Nadu? Well, I am not saying that ED is crossing all its limit. It is a statement given by the apex court of our country, that is Supreme Court, in its judgment given yesterday. So in our today's discussion, we'll try to find out why is it a big controversy, especially in the state of Tamil Nadu, what is ED doing in this regard, and also from our exams perspective, we'll cover everything that is relevant, especially what are the powers ED has, what are the laws that gives ED the power to investigate cases relating to money laundering. All of that is relevant we'll cover in our today's session. But first, let me give you the context of our today's session. Well, the Supreme Court of India yesterday on May the 22nd, it stayed the proceedings in the Enforcement Directorate's investigation of money laundering instances, which is against the state government of Tamil Nadu's run liquor retailer known as Tamil Nadu State Marketing Corporation. Now, Tamil Nadu State Marketing Corporation is more commonly or popularly abbreviated as TASMAC. So essentially, ED was conducting an investigation on TASMAC on allegations of money laundering, and Supreme Court of India has stayed this investigation for some reason. What is the reason? I'll tell you in our today's discussion. Now, while making such a observation, Supreme Court said that the central agency ED, it is crossing all its limit and violating the federal structure, that is the relations between a central government and a state government entity. Now, this two-judge bench, which also included Chief Justice of India, they were hearing the matter as the petition was filed by the Tamil Nadu government, which challenged the ED searches conducted on the TASMAC headquarters located in the city of Chennai. So this is the context of our today's discussion. Now, before understanding the ED's power, it is essential for us to understand the background of this issue, especially in the context of what the comments made by Supreme Court. So first, let us understand the background of this issue, then we'll understand what the observations of Supreme Court was made or why it was made. Okay. Now, what you need to understand that in Tamil Nadu, all the liquor vents from where you buy alcohol, all of those liquor shops, these are managed by a one particular entity, that is a PSU of the state government of Tamil Nadu called as TASMAC. So essentially, TASMAC is a state monopoly that operates about 7,000 liquor outlets in the state of Tamil Nadu. Now, Enforcement Directorate, it was investigating alleged financial irregularities in the functioning of this body, especially between March 6th and 8th this very year. The Enforcement Directorate, it carried out searches and raids in 20 locations in Tamil Nadu, and it also included the TASMAC's headquarters located in Chennai. So that is why it created a big controversy. Now let us understand the reasons why ED was conducting its search and seizure operations. Now, ED began investigating the issue of money laundering based on 41 FIRs that were registered by the Tamil Nadu's Vigilance Department under the sections of Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, and this FIR were filed from 2014 onwards up till 2021. And these FIRs, it alleged activities of corruption that were going on in the TASMAC company. Now, the FIR, it was registered not against the company but against individuals, which also included several of the officials of TASMAC, right? And it included many allegations of corruptions, like the TASMAC shops, they were overcharging their customers, because you understand in India there is a concept called as MRP, which is maximum retail price. So if I'm selling any commodity in a shop, including alcohol, I shouldn't sell alcohol or that commodity over and above the MRP price, right? So in that regard, there were allegations that TASMAC shops were overcharging its customers. Also, there were many allegations of kickbacks that were offered by alcohol manufacturing distillers to TASMAC officials so that their alcohol or their bottles are sold in the TASMAC shops. And it also not just included kickbacks but also offering bribery to senior TASMAC officials and retail outlets, in addition to seeking transfers and postings of officers and staff which are amenable to interest of alcohol manufacturing companies, so that these staff and members of the TASMAC shops, they are selling only those items for which the bribes are paid by the companies. So these were the allegations of corruption levied on many officials of TASMAC and also on the officials who are managing the shops of TASMAC, right? Now, in this regard, the ED, it conducted searches in May and it was carried out under the provisions of Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Now, PMLA Act, it essentially gives power to ED to search and seizure and also to arrest many of the people who are involved in money laundering activities. More on PMLA, I'll cover in our today's session. Now, according to ED, this raids or searches which it did on various entities in Tamil Nadu, it led to seizure of many incriminating data. This incriminating data highlighted that many transfers and postings were made in addition to the bribes that were paid. Also, in dealing with transport tender, offering of bar licenses, there were corruption involved, and also it favored a few distillery or alcohol manufacturing companies, and also there were evidences that was found that excess charge of 10 to 30 rupees per bottle was charged in the TASMAC outlets, which is an illegal offense, right? And according to ED, it also involved officials of TASMAC. So that is why this was found by ED in its searches. Now, ED, it also claimed to found that manipulations in TASMAC's transport tender and bar license allocation were also made. Suppose if you are transferring stock of alcohol from warehouse to shops, it involves transportation, and the transportation tenders that were offered were not given to people who were eligible. Similarly, bar licensing, people who can sell alcohol in their restaurants, you need license for that. So all these licenses and tenders were allocated to people who did not even submit their required KYC documents. So these were the allegations of corruption that were found by ED in its raid and searches that it made in Tamil Nadu, especially at different locations, including the TASMAC's headquarters, right? Now, ED's investigation, it also revealed the role of alcohol manufacturing companies that are distilleries. It said that 5 distillery companies and 3 bottling entities are involved, which generated unaccounted cash and illicit payments. How did they generate illicit payments and unaccounted cash? Let me tell you. Now, ED, it said that many alcohol manufacturing companies, they inflated their expenses and placed bogus purchase orders. For example, just for example, suppose if a alcohol manufacturing company is manufacturing 1,000 bottles every day, right? But this manufacturing company will instead highlight that they are manufacturing 1,500 bottles, which may not necessarily be true because their capacity is 1,000 bottles. So this means that 500 extra bottles are manufactured or said to be manufactured for bogus purposes, and for that the alcohol manufacturing companies will place an order to bottling companies demanding 500 extra bottles, and this 500 extra bottles theoretically or at least on paper will be supplied by bottling companies to the manufacturing companies, for which the manufacturing companies will pay payment to the bottling companies. Now you understand, these are all 500 extra bogus purchases. So essentially the money which is transferred from distillery companies to bottling companies, this will be returned back to distillery companies by taking some cut or commission, right? Now this illicit cash which the bottling company is generating by making or saying bogus purchases, this illicit funds is used to bribe officials as well as employees of TASMAC. So this is why ED said that huge amount of bribery amounting to 1,000 crore rupees was alleged to be involved in this particular scam. Now this was a controversial issue. Why? Because TASMAC is an entity owned by Tamil Nadu government. So basically, when a central government entity, that is Enforcement Directorate, it is investigating corruption matters of a PSU belonging to state government, it automatically elevates this issue to a center and state issue, which is a federal issue. That is why this created a lot of controversy, and especially at the time when in few months Tamil Nadu is expected to go into election, this brings a charge on the ruling government of Tamil Nadu. So that is why it created a lot of controversy. Now let us understand what the Supreme Court said in its judgment given yesterday. Now, Supreme Court stated that it was the state government itself which had filed 41 FIRs from 2014 to 2021, but this FIR for corruption was filed against individual, not against the corporation, that was TASMAC, right? So therefore, when ED is coming into picture in 2025 and it is raiding the corporation head office, this is not a right thing to do. And in the judgments, Chief Justice of India, he also asked Additional Solicitor General, who was representing ED in this case, how can there be an offence against the corporation, because otherwise you can register a case against individual, not against a corporation. Therefore, this investigation was stayed by the Chief Justice of India, and that is Supreme Court of India. Now, while staying the investigation, Supreme Court of India has also sought a response from ED regarding this issue in matter of 2 weeks. So that is why this issue is ongoing. And I told you this is not just a anti-corruption measure, but this has risen to an issue of political corruption because it involves a Tamil Nadu government entity, and therefore there are allegations that even the politicians are involved. And this becomes a key issue, especially when Tamil Nadu is expected to go into election in few months from now, right? So that is why Supreme Court stayed this investigation, because the investigation was trying to highlight a corporation, not the individuals who were involved in the corruption, right? Now, in this regard, the role of ED becomes important, and you understand UPSC being a central exam, the questions might be asked on ED. So in that regard, let us try to understand the role of ED, especially in dealing with money laundering cases. Now, ED is India's specialized agency done for enforcing or responsible for enforcing economic laws and combating financial crimes. And this comes under the control of Ministry of Finance, particularly the Department of Revenue. Now, ED itself was established back in 1956 as Enforcement Unit, and this at that time was under Department of Economic Affairs, also the part of Finance Ministry of India, right? Now, in 1957, the name of this body was changed from Enforcement Unit to Enforcement Directorate, and in 1960, the administrative control of this body, ED, was transferred or shifted to the Department of Revenue, under which it continues even today. So, this is an entity coming under the Ministry of Finance, particularly Department of Revenue. Now, let us understand the head of ED. ED is headed by an officer who is ranked of Director of ED and is currently an IRS officer, right? Now, the tenure of ED Director initially was 2 years, but after an amendment made to the CVC Act, the tenure now can be extended to 3 more years. So, essentially, this provides a conditional tenure of 5 years. Now, the ED Director is appointed under Section 25 of the CVC Act 2003, and the appointment is made by the central government, but central government makes this appointment not on its own, but on the recommendation of a selection committee which is headed by the Central Vigilance Commissioner of India, right? So, ED Director is initially appointed for 2 years, but it can be extended by 3 more years, and the appointment is made by central government based on the recommendation by a committee headed by the Central Vigilance Commissioner. Understood? Now, let us understand the laws which gives ED the power to conduct investigation with relation to cases involving money laundering. Now, there are 4 acts in today's discussion. These are Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, abbreviated popularly as PMLA, Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, that is FEMA, Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act 1974, Coffee Posa, and Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018, which was passed after people like Nirav Modi, people like Vijay Mallya, people like Mehul Choksi took a huge loans from banks from India and without returning the loan escaped or ran away from India. So to deal with such economic offenders who have crossed the boundaries of India, there was a law which was passed by Indian government known as Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018. So all in all, these 4 are the act which gives ED the power to investigate cases relating to money laundering, and the most important act in this regard obviously is the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Now, in this regard, let us understand important provisions of the PMLA Act which are in news and might be relevant from our exams perspective. First are Section 48 and 49 of the PMLA Act, which empowers the ED officers to investigate cases relating to money laundering. Similarly, Section 52 of the PMLA Act, it empowers ED to summon any person whose attendance is considered necessary to provide evidences or even produce records which is necessary in proceedings of investigation. Similarly, subsection 53 of the PMLA Act, it provides that individuals who has been summoned by ED, they are bound to attend in person or through an authorized representative of theirs, and they are required to make truthful statements and produce required documents if demanded by ED. Now, these 52 and section 53 were in news because Arvind Kejriwal was also subjected to investigation by the ED, and in many cases when Arvind Kejriwal ignored the summons issued by ED, therefore these two sections appeared in the news quite frequently. Similarly, ED also has the power to confiscate property which according to ED may have been gained due to money earned by money laundering, and therefore it can even provisionally attach these properties in order to recover the money which is expected to be done through money laundering. Also, section 19 is probably the most important section of PMLA which is in news. Section 19 of PMLA, it grants the ED director the authority to arrest individuals during the cases. Now, here the provision of section 19 becomes very important. So let us read that provision. Now, this provision says that if the director of ED has reasons to believe that any person has been guilty of offense punishable under the PMLA Act, he may arrest such person and as soon as may be inform him of the grounds of such arrest. But can ED director make an arrest or can ED official make an arrest solely on the reason of belief? No. How can they arrive that they have a reason to believe a person is involved in money laundering? This can only be done through a basis of a material or evidences that is in possession of ED. So basically, ED director has a power to arrest any person according to them who is involved in financial crimes like money laundering, but only after they have a sufficient material evidence in their own possession. And this becomes important, especially in comparison to the powers that the state police have in terms of arresting any person. So let us understand how is it different from the state police's power to arrest an individual. Now, section 41 of the Criminal Procedure Code of Indian government, it provides state police the power to arrest any person based on reasonable suspicion. But if you read the powers given to ED to arrest a person, you will know that the arrest made by ED can only be done on the basis of evidence that is material which is in possession of ED. So therefore the powers given to ED for arresting a person is much stricter than the powers given to state police, because state police can arrest anyone based on reasonable suspicion, but ED can't. ED can only arrest a person if they have evidence that that person is involved in money laundering. Understood? So this is what is necessary for your today's discussion. Now, before concluding this session, I'll want each and every one of you to solve this particular practice question which I've curated. Do let me know the correct answer in the comment section. I will like your correct answer so you'll know that your answer is correct. And also, what do you think about this issue? Is this just an issue between the central and state government, or is it more than that? Or does it involve even the corruption by state entities of Tamil Nadu, particularly TASMAC? So I'll want your opinions in the comment section. Do let me know what you think of this session and also your opinion in the comments. And for more such informative videos on everything that is contemporary from UPSC perspective, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So this is all from my side. I'll see you again. Please have a very good night.